How do I work with all these crazy people? Episode 6, The Extreme Go-Getter. Welcome back to another LinkedIn First video. My name is Troy Stoneking. It's called LinkedIn First because these videos go on LinkedIn before they go to any of my other social channels. This is episode 6 of the How Do I Work with All These Crazy People series. Go back and watch the previous episodes if you'd like to learn more about how to work with different kinds of people, especially. Don't miss the introduction so you can see where I'm coming from. So this is episode 6, The Extreme Go-Getter. Some time ago, I was working with an organization on a team, and they hired in a new person. And let's just call him Al. We'll call him Al. Now, Al was relatively young, and I mean relatively young compared to the rest of the members of the team. Al had some decent experience, but he had a fantastic attitude. Al was excited. Al wanted to help. Al wanted to jump in. And Al, bonus to the team, was an extreme go-getter. Al was amazing. Al was amazing. And he usually knocked it out of the park. See, Al would take on any project you offered to him. Al would help out anyone who asked for assistance. Al would jump in. Al would lend a hand. Al would be a problem solver. Al would learn new information. Al would help others to learn new information as well. Al was the kind of guy you were so pleased to have because he just made it happen. An extreme go-getter. But over the course of a few months, Al's constant volunteering started to create a situation where he was way in over his head. His performance began to suffer. He became irritable with others. Can we have an Al who really can be an extreme go-getter and not go through that suffering, that performance suffering? Absolutely. Now, there are two ways that Al can learn this. Al can learn it on his own, or we can help him. Now, a lot of times when the extreme go-getter attempts to learn it on their own, they go through it, and 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 they eventually figure out what they have to do, or they never do, and they go through cycles of new job, new responsibilities, or new business, new entrepreneurial opportunity, and they get excited and they volunteer and they do all these things and then burn out and they just keep going through that cycle. Let's help the extreme go-getter. Here's the first thing you can do: how to work with Al, how to work with the extreme go-getter. First of all, let him go a little crazy. Don't try and shut them down. Let him go a little crazy. Let him volunteer. Let him jump into projects. Let him start new things. Let him learn in other areas. Let him go a little bit crazy, and that's okay. We don't want to quench this spirit at all. Here's the second thing we should do. We need to check on the extreme go-getter regularly and make sure that their personal life is not suffering. You see, whether it's a startup or an entrepreneurial venture or it's a traditional job, we still need those support systems outside of our work environment. And those support systems are usually built around close family and friends. So that second step, check on the extreme go-getter regularly. Make sure that their personal life isn't suffering. Of course, you want to check on them regularly and make sure that their work life isn't suffering as well. Here's number 3. Don't involve the extreme go-getter in every project, and explain why. Explain to the person why. Because you've seen people who have this kind of wonderful, powerful spirit drag themselves through burnout over time. Here's the fourth one. Make sure the extreme go-getter has systems in place to manage all of their activities and their time. Make sure they have systems in place to manage all their activities and all their time, to maintain their workload without overdoing it. For many people, this is just going to be, okay, I need a schedule. Throughout the day, throughout the week, here are the things that I do. I do this now, I do this now, I do this now, I do this now, and then I do this now, and I do this now, I do this now, and I do this now. So make sure they've got systems in place to maintain their workload, to maintain their responsibilities without overdoing it. And here's the last one. Slowly loosen the reins. In other words, slowly give them more freedom to get into other areas and other projects. Slowly loosen the reins, but regularly go back through numbers 2, 3, and 4. Remember, so let's walk through all of them again. So the last one was slowly loosen the reins, but make sure you go back regularly to steps 2, 3, and 4. So step 1, working with the extreme go-getter, was let them go a little crazy. Let them get involved in several different areas. Step 2 is check on them regularly. Make sure especially that their personal life isn't suffering. We need well-rounded people, because if they don't have a good, strong support system outside of whether the career, whether it's a job or entrepreneurial or startup, they don't have a good support system outside, they will absolutely burn out. Step 3 was don't involve them in every project and explain why, because you don't want them to go through burnout. And then step 4 was make sure they have systems in place to maintain their responsibilities and their workload. And for many people, this is a schedule. And the last step was slowly loosen the reins while continuing to go through steps 2, 3, and 4, checking regularly, don't involve them in every project, and make sure they have systems in place. Listen, your extreme go-getter is either going to go out in a huge ball of fire, or they're going to become a shining star. Let's help them become the shining stars they were meant to be. Thank you, my friends, for watching this video. If you got some value out of it, click the like button. Give me a comment on it as well. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn also. These videos will be going over to my YouTube channel, along with all of my videos that are more on the personal relationship and personal development side. And that YouTube channel is youtube.com/Troy Stone King. So thank you again for watching How Do I Work with All These Crazy People, Episode 6, The Extreme Go-Getter.